James, Chapter 25. I'm breathing hard when I hit the button for the elevator, sweat slicked down my chest, my shirt sticking to skin. I take a pull on my water bottle and mop my face with a towel. I'm still catching my breath. The gym's never quieter than it is before dawn, though you can never tell when you're down here. Our HQ was constructed entirely underground. The idea was heavily inspired by Omega Point, obviously. Point was the first underground headquarters, and Castle, the now retired leader of the original resistance group, helped us transform his vision into a modern masterpiece. It took several years to meticulously build it out, but as far as I'm concerned, this is Winston and Aaliyah's greatest accomplishment. It's like a small city down here, heavily fortified, extremely secure. Bonus, it has state-of-the-art fitness facilities, and they're almost always empty. No one seems as excited about hitting the gym as me and Warner. I tapped the button again, sweat sneaking down my collarbone. Warner started training me not long after I moved in with him, and I loved it immediately. Something about the constant dopamine hits changed my brain chemistry. Usually he's here to make me feel bad about my reps, but he wasn't around this morning. It makes me wonder if everything's okay with Juliet. The elevator finally dings and I step inside. I have to place my hand on the scanner in order to access my floor, but otherwise, I make an effort not to lean on anything as the carriage ascends, containing my sweaty self until I can get in a shower. I glance at my watch, reminded in yet another small moment of my brief stint on the Ark. They took all my things, including the watch off my wrist. And that one cost me a lot. The one I'm wearing now is less suitable for the gym and much simpler overall. Traditional hour and minute hands, single complication, no tech. Not even a battery. You have to wear it so that it winds itself, otherwise the clock stops. I like it. I like not being tethered constantly to the mainframe. I watch the floors tick by on the monitor. The reestablishment was so obsessed with the future, so obsessed with constantly advancing technology in terrifying ways, that I think it gave our generation a complex. After the revolution, we established and subsidized programs to encourage people to learn practical trades. It was Warner's idea. He argued that we had to relearn self-sufficiency as a nation, bring back manufacturing and innovation so that we'd never be so reliant on technology that we'd abandon the building blocks of life. A lot of the kids I used to know are real, bona fide farmers now. We're still pretty high-tech, though. The elevator stops at a lower floor. The door opens, illuminating a gleaming, sparkling laboratory just beyond, where people in technical coats are already bustling across the floor. An older man gets on the elevator, his long black dreads reminding me of a younger Castle. I've seen this guy several times around here, especially during my early morning gym sessions. His name tag reads Jeff. I shake my head, fighting a private laugh as I say good morning. There's an overabundance of Jeffs in my life. Jeff gets off on yet another floor, the engineering lab. Once he's gone, the elevator slows down, requiring fresh verification. I place my sweaty hand on the biometric scanner again, and then, as we climb even higher, my retinas are scanned before I've cleared security altogether. After that, we ascend quickly, so fast, in fact, that I'm a little nauseous by the time we come to a halt at the top floor. The doors ping, opening directly into our living room. "Hey," I say, lifting a hand. I step out of the sleek, modern elevator and onto the hardwood floor of our modest, old-world home. Shafts of morning light reach through the windows, illuminating the rooms in the rising dawn. Golden rays gild the edges of fixtures and furniture. A squirrel swishes its tail from the branch of a huge live oak tree in the front yard, beyond which the sounds of life awaken in the street. There's the distant murmur of voices, the whoosh of a passing car. The birds are loud. Warner, of course, is quiet. He's fully dressed at 7 in the morning, sitting at the breakfast table in black slacks and a gray knit sweater, composed even at rest. I thought he was impressive at 20. At 30 years old, he radiates the kind of quiet, effortless power I find aspirational. Even now he looks anointed, his golden hair suffused with fresh sunlight. I know without a doubt that he's been up since 5, maybe earlier. I see him straight across our small, open-plan house drinking a cup of coffee. I can smell it from here. Black, very black. No cream, no sugar, just battery acid. I kick off my sneakers, placing them on the designated shoe rack before paddling toward the kitchen in my socks. Warner puts down his cup, then the tablet he'd been reading. As I approach, I catch sight of the massive stack of files beside him. "You should shower," he says by way of hello. "No shit," I say, dropping my gym bag on the kitchen floor. I place my water bottle by the sink and start prepping a protein shake. "Why weren't you in the gym this morning?" "Juliet needed me." I freeze, my hand on the cabinet door. "She okay?" "She's okay," he says quietly, picking up his coffee. "You want to talk about it?" He hesitates, the mug inches from his mouth, and just looks at me. "No, that's cool," I say, grinning as I mix the shake. "You want to write it down in your diary later. I get it." He puts down the mug. "Rosabelle was asking questions about you yesterday." This hits me, pow, right in the sternum. I actually need a minute. Finally, I say, "Asking about me how?" "She asked the girls if you had the same powers. She wanted to know whether you could heal other people in addition to yourself." I consider this a moment, then narrow my eyes when I say, "Did she really ask that about me, or are you just messing with me again?" "Not this time," he says, sitting back in his chair. "The girls" is an affectionate shorthand for Sonia and Sarah, the twin healers who oversee our HQ's medical facilities. These days, they spend most of their time researching and developing curative technologies, but they started out with Castle years and years ago at Omega Point. I studied under their guidance for a long time. They're the ones who taught me exactly how to use my power. "What was she doing with the girls?" I ask, leaning against the kitchen counter. "They always oversee the physicals for high-profile transfers," he says with a hint of impatience, like I should already know this. "Especially those who have entered with injuries." "Right," I say, remembering that I did know this. I turn to stare out the window. A finch jumps up onto the sill and studies me, and I'm reminded of robot birds. "I'm assuming the girls didn't answer her questions." Warner takes a sip of his coffee, watching me. My heart, traitorous asshole, kicks into high gear. The back of my neck prickles. Damn, it's a good thing I'm already sweaty. Honestly, I've been trying not to think about Rosabelle. Every time I look at my watch, I'm trying not to think about Rosabelle. I've been trying not to replay the horrors of yesterday's fiasco in a loop, trying not to remember how I managed to make a serial killer cry by feeding her lunch. I broke her, and I don't even know how I did it. It makes me sick to my stomach. I know she's technically a horrible person. I know this. I've got the scar on my neck to prove it. But no one breaks down crying trying to eat a piece of chicken unless they're carrying serious pain. And the fact I'm going to be alone with her day after day, forced to mine her for information, to break her again in pursuit of her deepest, darkest secrets, makes me feel even shittier. And then, of course, I feel shitty for feeling shitty because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much she cries. I'm going to do what's best for my family, for my people. Fuck the reestablishment. "Good," says Warner, picking up his coffee cup again. "Just checking." "Hey," I say, stunned. Don't eavesdrop on my feelings. You smell, he says, tapping his tablet back to life. I ignore this and peer over his shoulder. I catch a glimpse of a header that reads Sector 52, a brief history, before he turns the tablet face down. So, what's all this? I ask, nodding to the stack of files beside him. What are you researching? He doesn't even lift his head when he says, You haven't earned the right to know. What's that supposed to mean? I frown. Wait, are you doing Roosevelt recon? Obviously. He takes another sip of his coffee. And you're not gonna loop me in? You don't have the necessary security clearance. Now leave me alone. Are you joking? I go slack. This is a joke, right? You put me back on her case. I'm supposed to head over to the rehab facility in a few hours, and you're not even going to prep me. Now he looks up confused. I left 2 binders on your desk last night. Oh, I say, hesitating. I thought that was like optional reading. Warner closes his eyes on a controlled sigh, and when he opens his eyes again, he looks mutinous. You didn't read any of it? This is my cue to leave. I can feel a lecture brewing the way some people can smell rain in the air. Actually, I was gonna read it right now. He shakes his head at me, jaw tensing, then picks up his tablet. You want me to stop treating you like a child, he says. Stop acting like a child. Thanks, big bro, I say, backing out of the room. I appreciate the advice. I love you too. Pick up your gym bag. You're not an animal. I swipe the bag off the ground as I leave the kitchen, pointing my protein shake at him. I'm so glad we had this heart-to-heart. I'm feeling good about today, too. Loving life. Pumped. Don't forget to shave, he says, eyes fixed on the screen. And do a clean job this time. Use the straight razor like I showed you. Do you have nothing positive to say to me? I ask, heading for the hall. Maybe a little encouragement? Maybe something about how great I am, how talented I am, how I'm such a pleasure to have in class? Don't mess this up today. What's that? I cut my hand to my ear. You think I'm more handsome than you, smarter than you, taller than you? Warner sits up in his chair, his eyes flashing. You're right, I say, darting up the stairs. I crossed a line. Won't happen again.